You've been handed fragments of truth your entire life, scattered across dusty books and whispered teachings, never understanding they were pieces of a single mirror. What if I told you that mirror has been deliberately shattered, its reflection hidden because once you see yourself completely, the world has no choice but to rearrange itself around your knowing? This isn't philosophy. This is the operational manual for reality that's been concealed in plain sight. There exists an ancient understanding, older than written language, more persistent than stone monuments. It wasn't discovered by mystics wandering mountains or priests locked in temples. It was remembered. Because the truth about consciousness and creation isn't something you learn, it's something you've forgotten, buried beneath layers of conditioning that taught you to be powerless in a world that responds to nothing but your power. The sages who carried this knowing didn't write it down carelessly. They encoded it in stories, wrapped it in metaphor, disguised it as myth, not to keep it from you, but to keep it alive until you were ready to recognize what you've always been. They understood something that modern thinking has abandoned, that the universe isn't a cold mechanism grinding forward without awareness. It's a living intelligence, breathing with intention, reorganizing itself moment by moment in response to the consciousness observing it. Every teaching you're about to encounter reveals the same fundamental principle from a different angle. Matter doesn't exist first, waiting for your thoughts to influence it. Consciousness precedes form. Your awareness doesn't react to circumstances, it authors them. The world you perceive isn't happening to you. It's emerging from you with the same inevitability that shadows follow light. Michael Rodriguez understood this when he discovered his peculiar mirror along ancient trade routes. He'd built wealth reading merchants, knowing which ones needed to project strength, which ones sought beauty, which ones demanded displays of power. But the mirror he found in that collapsed caravan wasn't reflecting faces. It was revealing the invisible architecture underneath everything you call real. The surface didn't show bronze or silver. It drank light and exhaled it, transformed. When Michael first looked into it during his evening accounting, he jerked back so violently his tea spilled across parchment. What he saw wasn't his reflection. Swirling across that impossible surface were his thoughts made visible, undeniable, tangible. Worry about tomorrow's negotiation manifested as churning gray fog. Excitement about potential gains sparkled like scattered gold. Frustration with a stubborn customer appeared as crimson thorns twisting through the image. He spent that night testing reality itself. Think of childhood home. The house appears. Remember father's disappointment. Darkness spreads across the surface. Imagine success beyond current measure. Luminous patterns blaze so bright, his breath catches in his throat. By sunrise, Michael grasped what the mirror was actually showing. Not thoughts about reality. The understanding that thoughts are reality. The substrate from which physical form crystallizes. He brought this revelation into the marketplace, into negotiations where fortunes shifted on perception. Before entering any discussion, he'd hold the mirror and deliberately construct his consciousness. I am prosperity itself. I am respect embodied. I am the merchant everyone seeks to work with. Then he'd watch these declarations crystallize in the mirror's depth into golden, symmetrical formations. The results defied every conventional explanation. Hostile customers became cordial. Impossible deals suddenly resolved in his favor. His wealth didn't just grow, it multiplied exponentially. Other traders attributed his success to fortune or strategy. Michael recognized something they couldn't see. He was witnessing the mechanism that underlies all manifestation. Consciousness doesn't respond to reality. Consciousness generates reality. The mirror simply made visible what operates invisibly every moment of your existence. You've been taught backwards. You were told that thoughts react to circumstances, that your internal state is determined by external conditions. This teaching reverses that carefully constructed lie. Your thoughts don't describe the reality you inhabit. They prescribe it. Every pattern of thinking is an instruction the universe executes without question. When you hold the thought, "I am struggling," you're not observing difficulty, you're legislating it into manifestation. When you maintain the knowing, "I am abundant," you're not hoping for wealth, you're commanding it to materialize. What Michael's mirror revealed, what every authentic mystic has recognized. The world you perceive is consciousness reflecting itself back to you with absolute fidelity. You're not a passive witness observing objective reality. You're reality's author, writing your experience with every thought, every feeling, every declaration of I am. The external world isn't something happening to you from outside. It's something happening from you, projected outward, and then experienced as if it were separate. Here's your practice for the next 7 days. Find any mirror. Each morning, gaze into it and speak these declarations aloud. I am wealth beyond measurement. I am health radiating through every cell. I am love recognized and returned. But don't watch your face. Watch your thoughts as if that mirror could display them. Feel each I am statement not as affirmation of what you hope will arrive, but as command of what must materialize. You're not describing a future possibility. You're instructing present reality. Notice how circumstances begin reshaping themselves to match your declarations. This isn't mystical symbolism. This is consciousness mechanics finally understood. You are Michael Rodriguez. You've always held the mirror. You've simply forgotten how to look. Jessica Martinez wove with such practiced grace that pilgrims often mistook her movements for prayer. Perhaps they weren't entirely wrong. For 3 decades, her fingers had danced across temple looms, creating tapestries that depicted divine acts. Every thread told a story. Every color carried truth. Every pattern formed a world unto itself. Behind the high altar hung the temple's most magnificent work, a chronicle of creation spanning 20 cubits, showing how gods wove reality from cosmic threads. Jessica had inherited responsibility for its preservation from her mother, who'd received it from hers, 7 generations of women maintaining this sacred image. One morning, mending a frayed edge, Jessica noticed something unusual. A single golden thread, barely visible among thousands, pulsed with its own luminescence. Curiosity moved her hand. She tugged gently. The thread released easily. Then the entire tapestry began unraveling, not gradually, not strand by strand, but instantaneously, as if 20 cubits of woven history had only been pretending at solidity. Within heartbeats, decades of ancestral craftsmanship collapsed into loose threads at her feet, leaving only that golden strand gleaming in her trembling hand. Jessica wept. Then, as sunlight climbed through temple windows, understanding began emerging. She lifted a blue thread from the pile, one that had depicted sky in the original work. Separated, isolated, it was simply blue fiber. Its quality of skyness had existed only because of its position relative to all other threads. Shift one thread's location, the entire image transforms. Remove one thread entirely, the whole world it helped create ceases existing. That afternoon, She began weaving again, but this time, she placed the golden thread differently. Not hidden at edges where it had concealed itself for generations, but woven throughout the entire work, touching every color, influencing every pattern. The new tapestry depicted the same creation story, but transformed. Where gods had seemed distant and stern before, now they blazed with approachable radiance. Where humanity had cowered previously, now they stood elevated. Same threads, different arrangement, completely different world. The high priest commissioning the restoration stopped mid-stride when he witnessed the completed work. "This isn't what hung here before," he said. "No," Jessica replied, still weaving. "It's what was always trying to exist here." But one thread was positioned incorrectly. You believe transformation requires changing everything to change anything. This teaching reveals the opposite truth. Your life is a tapestry of interwoven beliefs, and one golden thread runs through it all. Your deepest conviction about your fundamental nature. Your core I am. When you locate that thread and reposition it, everything else must reorganize itself accordingly. You don't need to repair 1,000 problems individually. You need to shift one foundational belief and watch reality restructure itself around that transformation, like threads rediscovering their proper pattern. Jessica's discovery is your inheritance. The belief you hold about yourself, not your circumstances, not your history, not other people's opinions, but your own deep I am. This is the golden thread. Pull it from shadows and weave it through everything. The entire tapestry of your life transforms without you touching another strand. This is why attempting to change external circumstances while maintaining your internal I am creates exhausting, temporary results. You're trying to force different patterns, while the golden thread keeps pulling everything back to match its frequency. Take a moment right now. Comment below with this phrase: "I am the golden thread, and everything must reorganize around my knowing." Let that declaration ripple into the field. This isn't casual interaction. This is you consciously interrupting the loop of unconscious creation, sending a signal that you recognize the mechanism. Sit quietly. Imagine your life as a vast tapestry spread before you. See all its colors, patterns, complexities. Now locate the golden thread, your core belief about your nature. If that thread currently whispers, "I am insufficient," grasp it gently and consciously reposition it. Watch yourself place it differently, proclaiming instead, "I am abundance itself," woven through every experience. Sit with this for 10 minutes daily. Don't attempt to change anything else. Simply feel this one thread repositioning itself and observe, truly observe, how every other thread in your life's tapestry must shift to accommodate this new truth. Reality isn't fixed and solid. It's woven, and you hold the golden thread. Christopher Sullivan's hands were never completely clean. Clay lived under fingernails, in palm creases, worked so deeply into skin that even village children identified him by the earthy scent preceding his market arrival. He worked alone in a stone workshop at the valley's edge, where riverbanks offered clay other potters rejected as too unpredictable. They preferred reliable brown earth from highlands. Christopher sought gray-blue mud that seemed to possess its own opinions. On the morning everything changed, he wedged a fresh lump onto his wheel, preparing to throw a simple bowl for the baker's wife. But as his hands shaped spinning clay, he noticed something impossible. The clay was reforming itself before his hands made contact. He'd think wider rim, Watch the clay swell outward a heartbeat before his fingers arrived to guide it. He'd imagine taller walls, see the vessel elongate before his palms applied upward pressure. Not dramatically, just a finger's width of movement, but unmistakable, undeniable. Christopher stopped the wheel. His heart hammered against ribs. For the next hour, he experimented like a child with a new toy. Envision an elegant curve. The clay begins forming it before touching the surface. Expect a wobble or weakness. Sure enough, that spot thins and wavers beneath approaching hands. The clay wasn't reading his hands. It was reading his mind. More accurately, it was reading his expectations. That deep, preconscious knowing about what would happen next. When he expected mastery, his hands created masterpieces. When he expected struggle, clay fought him at every turn. He tested this with brutal honesty. Approached fresh clay thinking, this will crack. It cracked before he'd applied any stress. Approached another thinking, this will be my finest work. His hands moved with such fluid precision he barely recognized them as his own, creating a vessel of startling beauty. By sunset, Christopher grasped what mystics had whispered, but he'd dismissed as poetry. Reality doesn't respond to your actions. It responds to your expectations about your actions. The universe rearranges itself to match what you deeply believe will occur, then makes it appear as though your behavior caused the result. The clay wasn't magical. The clay was honest. It showed him what all matter does constantly: yields to consciousness first, circumstance second. You think your beliefs about reality are based on your experiences. This teaching inverts that delusion. Your experiences are based on your beliefs, specifically your expectations. Before you act, before circumstances unfold, your consciousness has already broadcast what you expect to occur. Reality, like Christopher's clay, begins conforming to that expectation before the first physical movement happens. This is why two people with identical skills can have completely different results. The difference isn't in technique, it's in the expectation preceding technique. When you expect abundance, the universe pre-shapes opportunities before you reach for them. When you expect rejection, doors close before you approach. You've attributed this to luck, timing, or skill. You've missed the mechanism operating beneath all of those. Your expectations literally restructure the experiential field you're about to enter. The clay reveals what the cosmos does constantly. It reads your deepest expectations and becomes them. If this recognition is landing in you, if something inside is saying, yes, I've always known this, then tap that like button and subscribe. Not to add to a number, but to anchor yourself to this frequency, to signal to the field that you're ready for more. Sit comfortably. Imagine holding a lump of clay in your hands. Feel its coolness, weight, potential. Now, without moving your imagined hands, think these words with absolute conviction. I am wealthy, and this clay recognizes it. I am healthy, and this clay confirms it. I am loved, and this clay reflects it. Watch the imagined clay begin reshaping itself in response to your expectations, not your hands, your knowing. See it form into a vessel of perfect abundance, perfect vitality, perfect connection. Practice this daily for 9 minutes. You're not visualizing to create change. You're training yourself to recognize that your expectations are already creating everything. Consciousness is the hand that shapes reality before matter ever moves. You are Christopher Sullivan. You've always been the potter. The clay has always been waiting for you to expect miracles. Amanda Torres served in Royal Archives, a position her family had maintained for 3 generations, while other scribes competed for glory recording laws and decrees. Amanda preferred quiet work of illuminating manuscripts, adding decorative flourishes to margins, painting miniature portraits of saints, preserving beauty that made words worth remembering. The Inkmaster delivered monthly supplies on each season's first day: carbon black, vermilion, azure, gold leaf. But this spring, he included something extra: a small vial of liquid so clear it resembled water. "Experimental," he muttered, avoiding her eyes. "Probably worthless. The monastery that created it burned down before they could explain its purpose." Amanda thanked him and set the mysterious ink aside. Returning to her commission, an epic poem about a king's conquest, she worked through afternoon, her hand moving in practiced rhythms across vellum. As twilight approached, she realized she'd forgotten the opening letter's decorative border. She reached for gold ink, but grabbed the clear vial instead. Too tired to fetch the correct color, she shrugged and used it anyway, painting elaborate spirals around the capital letter. Nothing appeared. Frustrated, Amanda set the page aside and went to evening meal. When she returned hours later, full moon rising through her window, the page had transformed. Where she'd painted with clear ink, luminous silver letters now glowed, visible only in moonlight. But these weren't the decorative borders she'd intended. Instead, flowing across the margin in elegant script were her own thoughts from that afternoon. "Why do I waste my talent on other people's words? I should be writing my own stories. I should be recognized, celebrated, wealthy enough to..." Amanda's hand flew to her mouth. These were thoughts she'd barely acknowledged having, certainly never spoken aloud. Yet here they blazed in silver fire across the manuscript. She spent the night testing the ink in moonlight. Every stroke revealed not what she intended to write, but what she was actually thinking while writing. Conscious intention painted nothing. Unconscious desire painted everything. The implications made her dizzy. For weeks afterward, Amanda used normal inks during day, but at night she'd write with clear ink, letting her deepest wishes flow onto hidden pages. Desires for recognition, wealth, love, freedom. She never wrote these wants consciously. She simply moved her hand across paper while holding them in her heart, and moonlight revealed what she'd truly inscribed. Within the season, every desire began manifesting. A wealthy patron discovered her work. The royal family commissioned a manuscript in her own words. A kind merchant began leaving flowers at her door. Each manifestation corresponded exactly to something she'd written in invisible ink. Not because she'd planned it, but because her hidden thoughts had been declaring it all along. You believe your conscious intentions create your reality. This teaching exposes a deeper truth. Your unconscious thoughts, the wishes you barely acknowledge, the desires you keep hidden even from yourself, are writing your future constantly in invisible ink. These aren't the affirmations you speak or goals you declare. These are the deeper I am convictions running beneath your awareness, the ones you'd never admit to anyone, sometimes not even to yourself. Amanda's ink revealed what's always operating. The universe responds not to what you say you want, but to what you actually believe in the depths of your consciousness. Your hidden thoughts manifest just as powerfully as your proclaimed ones, often more powerfully because they carry no conscious resistance. The moonlight that revealed the writing is simply awareness. When you finally illuminate your hidden beliefs, you see what you've been inscribing all along. This is why people often manifest the opposite of what they consciously desire. Their spoken wants are contradicted by their unconscious convictions. Tonight, sit in darkness with paper and pen. Don't write your goals or affirmations. Instead, write this phrase repeatedly for 7 minutes, letting your hand move while your mind wanders. I am. Don't complete it consciously. Let whatever wants to finish that sentence flow through your hand. Don't judge it, edit it, or try to make it positive. Just write what emerges. When finished, read what you've written by candlelight or moonlight. These are the hidden thoughts already manifesting your reality. The ones that feel uncomfortable are usually the ones creating what you claim you don't want. Now on a fresh page, write new I am statements. But this time write them as if they're the hidden truth you're finally revealing. I am secretly abundant. I am already whole. I am the wealth I seek. Write these in darkness. Trust they're inscribing themselves on reality's ledger whether you can see them yet or not. You are Amanda Torres. Your thoughts have always been writing in invisible ink. Tonight, you begin writing different words. Matthew Campbell's forge stood where 3 mountain paths converged, high enough that visitors arrived breathless, needing to rest before speaking. He preferred it that way. Silence suited his work better than conversation. For 20 years, he'd shaped metal for farmers, warriors, merchants, plowshares, swords, hinges, locks, reliable work, predictable outcomes, heat iron, strike while hot, quench in water. The rhythm never changed until the morning he woke knowing with inexplicable certainty that today's metal would bend before he struck it. The thought made no sense. Metal required force, required the hammer's blow to overcome resistance. Yet the knowing persisted, bone deep and unshakable, like remembering something that hadn't happened yet. He fired the forge as always, heating a rod of iron to cherry red, lifted his hammer, positioned metal on anvil. Before the hammer fell, the iron curved, not dramatically, just a subtle bend, as if acknowledging what was about to happen and deciding to cooperate early. Matthew froze mid-swing, hammer suspended above metal that had already accepted its new shape. His hands trembled, his mind raced. Then, with the caution of a man testing ice, he heated another rod. This time he thought clearly, "This will flatten into a blade." The metal, still on the anvil, began spreading itself thin before his hammer descended. Not enough to complete the transformation, but enough to show it had heard him, understood him, started obeying. For 3 days, Matthew experimented in secret, telling no one. The metal wasn't responding to his hammer. It was responding to his certainty. When he knew a shape would emerge, iron began conforming before impact. When he doubted, even his strongest strikes barely dented the surface. The mechanism was invisible, but undeniable. His consciousness reached the metal first, making it pliable or resistant based on his expectations. The hammer merely finished what his mind had already commanded. On the 4th morning, a merchant arrived wanting an ornate gate, intricate scrollwork that should require weeks. Matthew closed his eyes, envisioned the completed piece with absolute clarity, knew the metal would cooperate, and began working. His hammer had never moved so effortlessly. Iron twisted and curved as if eager to become what he imagined. He completed the gate in 3 days. When the merchant gasped at the beauty of the work, Matthew said nothing. How could he explain that the metal had done most of the shaping itself, bending to consciousness before ever meeting force. He'd spent 2 decades believing his strength shaped iron. Now he understood. Consciousness shapes everything. Matter is simply eager to comply. You exhaust yourself forcing reality to bend. This teaching reveals reality's secret eagerness to cooperate. Matthew discovered what you've forgotten. The universe yields to consciousness before you take action. Your certainty reaches matter first, making it pliable or resistant before your hands ever touch it. This is why effort without certainty creates struggle, while certainty with minimal effort creates flow. You've blamed your struggles on insufficient force when the actual problem was insufficient knowing. When you approach opportunity while thinking, "This will be difficult," circumstances harden like cold iron. When you approach while knowing, "This is already mine," reality softens and shapes itself to match your expectation. The action matters less than the consciousness preceding it. Your hammer isn't what shapes your life. Your certainty is. This is why people with less skill sometimes achieve more. They approach with uncontaminated certainty, while others approach with skill contaminated by doubt. Sit quietly. Imagine holding a rod of iron in your hands. Cold, hard, resistant. Now, without imagining yourself bending it through force, simply know with absolute certainty, I am the consciousness that softens all resistance. I am the knowing that arrives before action. I am the certainty that shapes reality before I touch it. Feel the metal in your imagination begin warming, softening, becoming pliable. Not because you're forcing it, but because your consciousness has already commanded its cooperation. Hold this knowing for 8 minutes daily. Tomorrow, before taking any action, pause. Let your certainty reach it first. Watch how reality bends before you strike. You are Matthew Campbell. You've always had the hammer. Now you've remembered you also have the knowing that makes hammers unnecessary. Sarah Henderson kept her maps in copper tubes sealed with beeswax, protected from salt air that ruled the harbor. She guided ships by stars most people never learned to name, faint pinpricks that told her more than obvious constellations every child could recognize. Captains paid her well because she never got lost. What they didn't know was that she'd been lost her entire life. The compass arrived on a Thursday, delivered by a dying astronomer she'd studied under decades ago. No note, no explanation. Just a brass compass in a wooden box, its needle trembling between north and nowhere. Sarah tested it that evening on her observation deck. The needle ignored magnetic north entirely, spinning lazily until it stopped pointing toward nothing. Empty ocean. No landmark, no island, no rational destination. She almost threw it away. Then just before sleep, lying in her bed, she did something she'd trained herself never to do. She let herself imagine a place that didn't exist, a harbor she'd dreamed of since childhood, where water glowed with bioluminescence, and ships needed no anchors because the sea itself held them gently in place. The compass needle snapped to attention, pointing with absolute certainty toward the direction of her imagining. Sarah sat up so fast, she knocked over her water basin. For the next week, she experimented. Every imagined destination, whether real place remembered or fantasy conjured, made the compass point with unwavering conviction. It didn't show her where things were. It showed her where her consciousness had sent itself. More remarkably, when she followed the compass's guidance toward imagined places, the world rearranged itself to meet her. She'd imagine a hidden cove perfect for avoiding storms, follow the needle through fog, find herself in exactly the sheltered bay she'd envisioned, one that appeared on no map, that other navigators swore hadn't existed the previous season. She'd picture a merchant she needed to meet, follow the compass through market crowds, walk directly into the woman who'd say, "Strange." I felt pulled to walk this direction. The compass didn't track destinations, it created them. Her imagination wrote coordinates across space-time, and the compass transformed consciousness into geography, making real what she'd merely pictured. This is what modern thinking has forgotten. Imagination isn't fantasy or escapism. Imagination is the realm where all physical form gestates before birth. When you imagine with sufficient clarity and belief, you're not daydreaming, you're pre-creating. Within a month, Sarah Henderson became legend. She found trade routes that shouldn't exist, harbors that appeared only when needed, safe passages through waters other navigators deemed impossible. People called it supernatural gift. She called it something simpler. Remembering that consciousness moves first, and reality follows like a faithful servant, rearranging itself to match wherever your imagination has already gone. You search for paths to your desires. This teaching inverts the journey. Your imagination creates destinations first. Real destinations in space-time, not fantasies. When you vividly picture where you want to be, your consciousness travels there instantly, leaving a trail across reality like a ship leaves wake across water. The compass isn't guiding you to somewhere. It's showing you where you've already sent yourself. Physical reality then rearranges itself to make that destination reachable, creating paths, opportunities, synchronicities that manifest the place your consciousness has already visited. The universe doesn't respond to your wanting. It responds to your having already arrived in imagination. Sarah's compass didn't point toward possibilities. It pointed toward certainties her consciousness had established by visiting them first. Sit comfortably. Place your hand over your heart, your internal compass. Close your eyes and imagine with complete sensory detail a destination you desire. A life situation, an achievement, a state of being. Don't picture yourself traveling toward it. Picture yourself already there. See it, hear it, feel it, smell it. Spend 5 minutes inhabiting this destination as present reality. Now speak these words. I am already at the destination I seek. I am the consciousness that arrives before the body. I am the navigator who dreams paths into existence. Feel an invisible compass needle within your chest, pointing with absolute certainty toward this destination. Not because you're moving toward it, but because you've already sent your consciousness there. The path will appear because you've already arrived. Practice this daily. Then watch reality rearrange itself, creating routes to what you've already reached in awareness. You are Sarah Henderson. Your imagination has always been a compass. Now you've learned to follow it. Joshua Mitchell inherited his grandfather's bakery in a village so small, it had no name, just the place where 3 rivers meet. His ovens were clay domes built by hands dead 2 centuries, fired by wood from forests that had witnessed empires rise and crumble. He baked the same bread his family had always baked. Simple loaves for simple people. Fishermen, weavers, shepherds. They paid in copper coins or trade goods, and Joshua never asked for more than they could give. Business was steady, predictable, safe. The wheat came from a new supplier that autumn, a traveling merchant with kind eyes who claimed his grain was blessed by circumstances. Joshua noticed nothing unusual about it. Same golden color, same weight, same texture under his fingers. But the first loaves transformed everything. A widow bought bread that morning, mentioning she had no appetite since her husband died. When she bit into Joshua's loaf, tears streamed down her weathered face. "It tastes," she whispered, "exactly like the honey cakes my mother made when I was small. I haven't thought of those in 40 years." A laborer arrived at noon, shoulders bent under debts he couldn't repay. He ate his portion standing, then returned an hour later. "I don't understand," he said quietly. "That bread tasted like hope, like my life isn't finished. How did you do that?" A merchant's daughter, thin from refusing food for weeks, accepted a piece reluctantly. She devoured it, then another, then wept with something between laughter and relief. "It tastes like I'm enough," she said, "like I'm already whole." Joshua baked nothing different. Same recipe, same technique, same ovens. Yet each person experienced precisely what they most desperately needed. The bread was reading them, responding to the hunger beneath their hunger. This is what most people miss about creation. You think you're creating one thing for everyone. You're actually creating a frequency that each consciousness interprets according to what it needs to receive. He tested this phenomenon for weeks, paying careful attention to his thoughts while kneading dough. When he worked with resentment about unpaid debts, bread emerged dense and bitter. When he kneaded with gratitude for having work, it rose lighter and sweeter. More remarkably, when he held specific intentions, this loaf will nourish courage. This one will feed peace. People reported tasting exactly those qualities. The baker who'd written off his craft as mere survival suddenly understood he'd been programming matter itself. Every time his hands touched flour, his thoughts were the real ingredients. The wheat was simply eager to become whatever his consciousness commanded. Within seasons, pilgrims traveled days to taste Joshua Mitchell's bread. Not because he'd learned new techniques, but because he'd finally understood the technique that mattered most. Consciousness shapes substance before hands ever touch it. You believe matter is neutral, awaiting your manipulation. This teaching reveals matter's secret eagerness to obey: consciousness. Joshua discovered what quantum physicists would later prove. The observer affects the observed. Your thoughts don't merely influence outcomes. They program reality at the molecular level. Every substance you touch receives instructions from your consciousness before receiving work from your hands. When you cook, build, create, or craft while holding thoughts of lack, the matter itself absorbs that frequency and produces experiences of insufficiency. When you work while knowing abundance, the physical substance reorganizes to match that certainty, producing results that nourish exactly what people need. You aren't just a baker, builder, or maker. You're a consciousness that programs matter with every thought preceding action. Choose any daily activity involving physical matter: cooking, crafting, writing, building. Before touching the materials, hold them in your awareness and speak these declarations. I am the consciousness that programs all matter. I am abundance flowing through these materials. I am the blessing that transforms what I touch. As you work, maintain continuous awareness that your thoughts are the true ingredients. Your hands simply complete what consciousness has already commanded. Don't force positivity. Simply know that matter eagerly awaits your instructions and will organize itself according to whatever you genuinely believe. Practice this for 9 minutes daily while preparing food. Notice how even simple meals begin affecting people differently. nourishing depths you didn't consciously intend to reach. You are Joshua Mitchell. Your hands have always worked with flour. Now you've remembered they work with consciousness first. Matter simply obeys. Stephanie Garcia tended temple gardens where silence was doctrine. Priests walked gravel paths meditating on emptiness. Novices swept leaves without speaking. Even birdsong seemed muted here, as if the birds themselves had taken vows. She'd worked these grounds for 15 years, planting herbs for medicine and vegetables for temple kitchens. Her hands knew soil like others knew scripture. The right depth, moisture, spacing. Plants grew well under her care, adequately, predictably. The seeds arrived as gift from a traveling mystic who'd stayed one night and left at dawn. A small cloth pouch, no label, no instructions, just seeds that looked ordinary. Dark, hard, unremarkable. Stephanie planted them in her private corner bed, the plot she used for experiments. She watered them, marked the row, walked away, humming an old melody her grandmother once sang while cooking. By evening, green shoots had pierced the soil. She stopped mid-step on her rounds. Seeds didn't germinate in hours. It took days, sometimes weeks. She knelt, touching the impossible sprouts with trembling fingers. They were real, solid, already reaching toward moonlight. The next morning she returned, still humming a different tune this time. Something wordless and lilting. The plants had doubled in height overnight. As her melody shifted, she watched, actually watched, the stems sway in rhythm, reaching higher with each note. Her humming stopped. The growth stopped. She tried again, this time singing a harvest song about abundance. The plants seemed to lean toward her voice, leaves unfurling like hands opening to receive gifts. When she sang of struggle and hardship, they withdrew slightly, growth pausing. They weren't just hearing her. They were listening, responding, organizing their cellular expansion according to the frequency and meaning her voice carried. For weeks, she experimented privately, afraid to tell anyone. Songs of joy produced explosive flowering. Hymns of gratitude made roots dig deeper, stalks grow stronger. Dirges and laments caused wilting, no matter how much she watered. Most remarkably, when she sang specific intentions, grow tomatoes, while planting beans, the plants produced tomatoes. As if the seeds themselves were neutral templates, waiting for consciousness to tell them what to become. The other gardeners wondered at her suddenly legendary harvests. She wanted to explain that she hadn't learned better techniques. She'd learned that consciousness spoke first, always first, and matter, even sleeping matter in tiny seeds, was perpetually listening, eager to become whatever clear thought gave it permission to be. Her garden hadn't needed better soil. It had needed someone who remembered that growth responds to consciousness before it responds to water. You fertilize, water, tend, while wondering why growth remains stunted. This teaching reveals what gardens truly hunger for. Stephanie discovered what ancient cultivators knew. Living matter is consciousness waiting for instructions. Seeds don't contain predetermined outcomes. They contain potential, listening for clear direction. Your thoughts, emotions, intentions reach them before your hands do, programming their development at the quantum level where possibility collapses into form. When you garden, build, or create while broadcasting worry, lack, or doubt, growing things receive those frequencies as building instructions and produce accordingly. Sparse, stunted, limited. When you tend while emanating certainty, abundance, and specific clear vision, matter organizes itself to match that template. You aren't growing plants. You're singing realities into form. Everything alive is listening. Sit quietly, holding any seed from garden, fruit, or imagination. Cup it gently in your palms and begin humming softly, any melody that feels natural. As you hum, speak these words between phrases. I am the consciousness that commands all growth. I am abundance singing through living things. I am the frequency that shapes potential into form. Picture the seed hearing your voice at levels beneath sound, receiving not vibration but meaning, organizing its cellular blueprint according to what your consciousness declares. Feel it becoming eager, ready, responsive. Do this for 7 minutes daily. Then speak clearly to the seed what you intend it to become. Not just a plant, but what quality it will embody. Strength, peace, prosperity, joy. Plant it knowing you've already programmed its destiny. Watch what grows, not just in soil, but in your life. Wherever you've remembered that consciousness sings first. Matter eagerly harmonizes with whatever song you choose. You are Stephanie Garcia. Your hands have always worked with earth. Now you've learned they work with consciousness first. Seeds simply sing back whatever melody you've taught them. Drop one word in the comments that captures the energy you're choosing to embody after hearing these teachings. Just one word. Let it be your energetic signature to the quantum field. This isn't about engagement metrics. This is about conscious declaration rippling into reality. David Patel worked in a palace workshop where light entered through colored glass and scattered like broken promises across his workbench. He cut gemstones for nobility, sapphires for wedding rings, emeralds for signet seals, rubies for crowns that would outlive their wearers. His hands were steady. His eye was perfect. His work was adequate. The raw stone arrived in a velvet pouch carried by a veiled courier who spoke no words, only bowed and departed. Inside, a crystal the size of a plum, completely clear, utterly unremarkable. No fire, no color, no value David could assess. He set it aside, irritated by the mystery. That evening, exhausted from a day of tedious commissions, he held the crystal while counting his meager savings. As worry tightened his chest, never enough, always falling short. The stone pulsed with muddy brown light. He dropped it, startled. When his breathing calmed, he picked it up again. The brown faded to gray transparency. Over following days, he tested this phenomenon obsessively. When he polished it while thinking of his deceased daughter, the crystal glowed soft violet, the exact shade of grief. When he worked while remembering his wedding night, it blazed rose gold with joy. Anger made it flash crimson. Gratitude turned it luminous green. The stone wasn't reflecting light. It was crystallizing emotion, capturing feelings and holding them visible, tangible, real. But the true revelation came when a merchant commissioned a pendant. David worked on ordinary aquamarine while consumed with envy of the merchant's wealth. The finished piece looked flawless, but the merchant's wife complained it made her neck feel cold, made her sad without reason. She refused to wear it. David tried again, this time holding gratitude while cutting, thankfulness for having work, for skilled hands, for another chance. The second pendant, physically identical, became the merchant's wife's most treasured possession. She claimed it warmed her heart, lifted her spirits, made her feel inexplicably abundant. The stones weren't neutral matter awaiting craftsmanship. They were consciousness, absorbers, crystallizing whatever emotion David held while shaping them. His feelings weren't interfering with his work. they were his work, imprinting themselves into molecular structures that would broadcast those frequencies to whoever wore them. He'd spent decades perfecting technique while ignoring the only tool that mattered: the emotional state he brought to each cut, each polish, each moment of contact between consciousness and matter. The jeweler who'd thought himself mere craftsman finally understood. Feelings don't just accompany creation, they become creation, crystallizing into the very substance being shaped. You try to work objectively, separating feelings from craft. This teaching shatters that illusion. David discovered what mystics have always known. Emotion is not ephemeral vapor, but creative force that crystallizes. Every feeling you hold while touching matter imprints itself into that substance at quantum levels, creating structures that broadcast those frequencies back into reality. When you create while feeling lack, the objects you make carry that frequency, subtly generating experiences of insufficiency for everyone who encounters them. When you craft, while genuinely feeling abundance, wealth, joy, or peace, those emotions crystallize into the material itself, turning ordinary objects into transmission devices that generate corresponding experiences. You aren't making things while having feelings. Your feelings are the invisible jeweler. Matter is the crystal eagerly capturing whatever you authentically emit. What we've explored so far barely scratches the surface of how consciousness operates as frequency itself. If you're feeling the pull to go deeper into these principles, to understand the complete system of how your broadcast shapes reality at the quantum level, I've created Beyond the Frequencies, a quantum guide to consciousness mastery. It takes everything we're touching on here and shows you the full architecture, the 9 frequencies that govern creation, and how to shift from unconscious transmission to becoming the field itself. It's linked in the pinned comment below. Hold any small object, stone, coin, key. Close your eyes and deliberately generate a powerful positive emotion. Gratitude, love, abundance, peace. Don't fake it. Genuinely feel it filling your chest, your arms, your hands. As that emotion peaks, imagine it flowing through your palms into the object, crystallizing there like light caught in amber. Speak these declarations. I am the consciousness that crystallizes into form. I am wealth becoming matter in my hands. I am emotion transforming into experience. Hold this state for 5 minutes. Knowing your feeling is literally restructuring the object's energy signature. Then carry this object as a reminder. Not a lucky charm, but proof that your emotional state creates material reality. Practice this daily. Then watch how feelings you hold while creating, working, or interacting crystallize into experiences that echo back to you through matter itself. You are David Patel. Your hands have always shaped stones. Now you've learned they shape emotions into crystals. Reality simply wears whatever frequency you've polished into being. Melissa Carter played temple bells at dawn and dusk, the only sounds permitted in the hall of ascending prayers. Her mallets struck bronze in prescribed patterns unchanged for generations. 3 tones for sunrise, 5 for sunset. Always the same. She'd held this position for 12 years, ever since the previous bellkeeper died mid-strike. The elders had chosen her for steady hands and reliable rhythm, not artistry. The bells required consistency, not creativity. The instrument arrived on spring equinox, a gift from a delegation visiting from distant mountains. They called it a sounding board, though it produced no sound Melissa could hear. Strings stretched across a wooden frame, but when plucked, they generated only silence. Play with gratitude, the mountain sage instructed before departing. Only those who appreciate can hear. Melissa thought this obvious nonsense. Music either sounded or didn't. She set the instrument aside. Weeks later, during evening bells, her hands slipped. She struck the wrong sequence, discordant, jarring. Shame flooded through her as priests winced. That night, sleepless with embarrassment, she remembered the silent instrument. "Play with gratitude," the sage had said. She pulled it from storage and sat cross-legged, forcing herself to feel thankful for her position, her health, her simple room. The gratitude felt hollow, performative. She plucked a string, silence. But as she sat there, genuine appreciation began rising unbidden, for moonlight through her window, for breath moving in her chest, for being alive in this moment. Real gratitude, not manufactured. She plucked again. This time, something. Not sound exactly. More like space opening, a dimension between notes where music existed beyond hearing. She played the entire night, discovering that only authentic appreciation unlocked each successive layer. Fake gratitude produced nothing. Mild thankfulness revealed faint harmonies. Deep, genuine appreciation opened symphonies. Entire compositions playing in ranges her ears couldn't register, but her consciousness could perceive. The music didn't exist in air vibrations. It existed in appreciation's frequency, a dimension of reality accessible only through genuine thankfulness. By dawn, she understood. Countless treasures surrounded everyone, always playing perpetually, but only gratitude provided the sense organ capable of perceiving them. She'd spent years surrounded by abundance she couldn't experience, because she'd never learned the instrument that made it audible. The hall of ascending prayers had always contained infinite music. She'd simply been deaf to frequencies that only appreciation could translate into experience. You scan reality searching for what's missing while standing in the center of abundance, broadcasting at frequencies you cannot perceive. Melissa discovered what mystics call the gratitude threshold. Entire dimensions of wealth, beauty, opportunity, and love exist constantly, but remain inaccessible to consciousness, operating below appreciation's frequency. These gifts aren't hidden. They're playing loudly. But thankfulness functions as the sense organ required to translate them into experience. When you approach life cataloging lacks, you literally cannot perceive the abundance already present. Not because it's absent, but because you're operating at a frequency where those riches remain invisible, inaudible, intangible. Gratitude doesn't attract better circumstances. It reveals the magnificence already surrounding you, making experienceable what was always present but imperceptible. You aren't seeking abundance. You're tuning your consciousness to frequencies where abundance becomes hearable, visible, touchable, real. Sit quietly and begin listing things you genuinely appreciate. Not what you should feel grateful for, but what actually moves your heart. Start simple: breath, warmth, safety. Speak each one aloud. I am grateful for specific thing. I am appreciation itself, perceiving hidden dimensions. I am the frequency where abundance becomes audible. As genuine thankfulness builds, notice subtle shifts in your perception. Colors slightly brighter, sounds slightly richer. The space around you somehow more. This isn't imagination. You're tuning to frequencies where reality's full symphony plays constantly. Practice this for 8 minutes daily. Then carry appreciation into ordinary moments, watching how gratitude literally unlocks experiences that were present all along but imperceptible, until thankfulness provided the sense organ to receive them. You are Melissa Carter. You've always had ears. Now you've learned that gratitude is the listening that makes reality's silent symphonies finally, gloriously audible. The teachings continue deeper, revealing layers you've only begun to touch. You've witnessed how consciousness precedes form, how expectations shape matter, how hidden thoughts write invisible scripts. But there's more, much more. Because once you understand that reality responds to consciousness, the question becomes, which consciousness are you operating from? Daniel Foster stood before the Queen's Council holding rolled parchments that weighed nothing, yet contained everything. For 20 years, he'd designed palaces, temples, fortresses, structures that took armies of workers decades to complete. His plans were flawless, his measurements precise, his buildings always somehow disappointing compared to what he'd envisioned. The commission seemed impossible. Design a lighthouse visible from both sea and stars, completed before autumn storms arrived. 6 months. No existing workforce could manage it. That night, desperate and sleepless, Daniel spread blank parchment and began drawing, not with his usual calculated precision, but with something approaching fever. He sketched while feeling the lighthouse already standing, sensing sailors' relief at spotting it through fog, imagining light piercing darkness, hearing waves crash against foundations that had weathered centuries. He drew experiencing the completed tower as if walking through it, touching stones he hadn't yet specified, climbing stairs that existed only in consciousness. By dawn, he'd created plans that violated every convention he knew, impossible angles that somehow worked, materials he'd never used appearing exactly right, dimensions that emerged from intuition rather than calculation. He presented the designs apologetically, expecting rejection. Instead, the Queen touched the parchment and gasped. "I can see it standing," she whispered. "Not imagine. See?" Construction began within days, and here the true strangeness emerged. Workers reported stones seemed to know where they belonged. Mortar set before mixing. Walls rose in configurations matching Daniel's vision without constant supervision. When laborers strayed from the design, materials became unworkable, heavy, awkward, resistant. When they aligned with his blueprint, everything flowed. The lighthouse completed in 4 months. Daniel tested this discovery obsessively. Buildings he designed while merely calculating took years and emerged lifeless. Structures he envisioned while experiencing them as already real, feeling their presence, inhabiting their completed existence, practically assembled themselves. As if his consciousness had written instructions into reality itself. Matter was simply reading those mental blueprints, eager to comply. He'd spent 2 decades believing buildings required physical effort to exist. He'd been wrong. They required mental architecture first. Physical construction was just matter catching up to what consciousness had already designed in the invisible realm where all things await permission to become solid. His plans had never been the problem. His relationship with those plans had been. Treating them as wishful thinking rather than actual blueprints already being read by the universe's construction crew. You create detailed plans, then watch them fail or struggle into being. This teaching reveals what actual construction requires. Daniel discovered what master creators know. Consciousness doesn't dream about reality, it drafts reality. When you design something while genuinely experiencing it as already complete, not visualizing hopefully, but inhabiting its finished existence, you create blueprints in the mental realm where matter takes its instructions. Physical reality doesn't build from scratch. It materializes from mental architecture already complete in consciousness. When your plans carry the frequency of someday, maybe, matter receives no clear instructions. When your vision carries the frequency of already standing, I'm just watching it appear, matter organizes eagerly around that certainty. You aren't planning what might exist. You're drafting what already exists in consciousness. The physical world is the construction crew reading your blueprints. Select something you wish to create or manifest. Sit quietly and begin designing it mentally, but not as fantasy. Experience it as already complete. Walk through it. Touch it. Use it. Feel the satisfaction of it standing finished. As this reality becomes vivid, speak. I am the architect whose mind builds worlds. I am the blueprint matter eagerly follows. I am consciousness drafting reality into form. Hold this completed vision for 10 minutes daily, not hoping it will appear, but experiencing it already standing with physical reality, simply catching up to your mental architecture. Then watch how circumstances, people, resources organize themselves around your blueprint, assembling what consciousness already designed. You are Daniel Foster. Your hands have always held plans. Now you've learned consciousness holds the blueprints. Reality is just the workforce reading your designs, building what you've already constructed in mind. The pattern becomes clear now, doesn't it? Every teaching reveals the same mechanism from a different angle. Consciousness precedes form. Expectation shapes experience. Hidden beliefs write visible outcomes. But understanding the mechanism isn't enough. You must recognize which consciousness you're broadcasting from, because there are layers within layers, depths beneath depths. Nicole Anderson kept the temple infirmary, where incense smoke curled through rafters and desperate souls arrived carrying afflictions no herb could touch. She'd apprenticed under 7 masters, memorized 400 remedies, cultivated gardens of healing plants that bloomed according to moon phases. Her shelves groaned with pottery jars, crushed beetles for fevers, willow bark for pain, mushroom powder for sleep, each labeled in her careful script, each proven across generations. Yet people continued suffering, improved, yes, survived often, but rarely healed in the way sacred texts promised. That instantaneous transformation from broken to whole. The stranger arrived during monsoon season, collapsing at temple steps with wounds that should have killed him days prior. Nicole cleaned, stitched, applied poultices. He should have died by morning. Instead, he woke at dawn, stood, walked to her preparation table. He lifted an empty vial from her discard pile. "This one," he said, "your most powerful medicine." "That's empty," Nicole protested. "Awaiting ingredients?" "Precisely." He handed it to her. "Fill it with absolute certainty that whoever drinks from it will heal completely. Not hope, not prayer. Certainty. The knowing you feel when water quenches thirst or fire produces warmth." He departed before she could argue. Nicole held the empty vial, skeptical. But that afternoon, a child arrived burning with fever no remedy touched. In desperation, Nicole poured water into the empty vial while flooding her consciousness with certainty, not wishful. The same bone-deep knowing she felt about sunrise following darkness, the child drank. The fever broke within minutes. Shaken, Nicole tested this obsessively. Empty vials filled only with water, but charged with her absolute conviction of healing. They worked more powerfully than her most complex remedies, but only when her certainty was genuine, uncontaminated by doubt. When she tried forcing belief, nothing. when she pretended confidence, worse than nothing. But when she accessed that internal state of complete knowing, the consciousness that doesn't hope for healing but recognizes it as already accomplished, the empty vessels became more potent than anything her gardens could produce. Her medicines had never been the healers. Her consciousness had been the medicine all along. The herbs were merely permission slips she'd required before allowing her certainty to flow. The remedies she'd trusted for years were training wheels. Consciousness was the cure. Pure belief crystallizing into healing force that needed no physical carrier, except her absolute conviction that wholeness was not just possible, but inevitable. Already real, simply awaiting recognition. You accumulate tools, techniques, remedies, external solutions for internal ailments. This teaching dismantles that dependence. Nicole discovered what healers eventually must. Consciousness doesn't require ingredients to heal, only certainty. When your knowing becomes pure enough, uncontaminated by doubt, need, or desperation, that conviction itself restructures reality. The empty vessel becomes irrelevant except as focus point for belief that has nowhere to hide behind physical substances. Your remedies work not because compounds are potent, but because your consciousness believes they are. Remove the remedy. Leave only certainty. Healing intensifies because belief no longer disperses itself across herbs, pills, or procedures. It concentrates into pure knowing. Reality has no defense against consciousness that absolutely believes. You aren't seeking better medicines. You're discovering that consciousness itself is the medicine. Everything else is merely scaffolding for conviction too pure to doubt. Hold an empty cup or vial. Fill it with water while flooding your awareness with absolute certainty about something you desire. Health, abundance, clarity, peace. Not wishful hoping, but the knowing you feel about gravity holding you to earth. As you pour, speak. I am the consciousness that heals through certainty alone. I am belief so pure it needs no carrier. I am the medicine, the healer, the healing itself. Drink while maintaining that unshakable conviction. Feel it saturating every cell. Not water you're consuming, but liquefied certainty, restructuring reality from within. Practice daily until you access that state of pure knowing effortlessly. Then apply it to any condition, watching how consciousness, with zero doubt, becomes the remedy that transforms everything. You are Nicole Anderson. Your hands have always held remedies. Now you've learned consciousness is the only medicine. Empty vessels simply reveal what was always present. Belief so absolute it heals through existence alone. The teachings spiral deeper now. You're beginning to recognize the pattern beneath the patterns. But there's a dimension we haven't fully explored yet. The relationship between your consciousness and the field itself. Because you're not just creating in isolation. You're collaborating with an intelligence that's been waiting for you to remember how. Robert Chen's caravan crossed 7 kingdoms carrying what other traders considered a fool's inventory. A single locked chest he never opened for inspection. While merchants around him hauled spices, silks, precious stones, Robert transported something observers dismissed as worthless: copper coins. So common children used them for games. Yet somehow Robert's wealth grew while competitors struggled. In marketplaces from coastal ports to mountain villages, he'd produce his peculiar currency and complete transactions that left both parties inexplicably satisfied. Other merchants studied his negotiations, copied his routes, even bribed his servants for secrets. None discovered why his modest coins purchased what their silver could not. The truth emerged during a river crossing when bandits overturned his cart. The locked chest burst open, spilling hundreds of copper coins across muddy bank. The thieves laughed. They'd risked their lives for pocket change. But as the leader reached to grab a handful, he gasped and dropped them immediately. "They're wrong," he stammered. "Heavy as stones, yet my hand says they weigh nothing." Robert gathered his coins calmly while bandits backed away, spooked. What they'd touched wasn't abnormal. It was responsive. Each coin's weight fluctuated based on the holder's relationship with gratitude. In hands clutching greedily, copper became leaden, exhausting to carry. In palms opened with genuine appreciation, the same coins turned weightless, multiplying their purchasing power through some principle that transcended market value. Merchants who received Robert's currency with thankfulness found those coins stretching further than gold. Those who counted them resentfully discovered the copper bought nothing, as if the metal itself rejected ungrateful transactions. Robert hadn't discovered magic coins. He discovered how to bless ordinary currency with consciousness until copper became a measurement tool. Not for market prices, but for gratitude's presence. His wealth accumulated because he only traded with people whose appreciation activated the currency's true value. For years, he'd believed prosperity required finding precious metals. Then he'd learned that thankfulness itself was the precious metal. Any currency blessed with genuine appreciation became more valuable than gold hoarded without gratitude. His chest had never contained the wealth. His consciousness had. The coins were simply mirrors reflecting whether abundance or scarcity occupied the holder's awareness. You pursue wealth as if it exists independently of your relationship with it. This teaching reveals the activation code. Robert discovered what prosperity masters know. Abundance doesn't exist waiting to be found. It responds to recognition. Money, opportunities, resources, all remain inert until gratitude activates their value. When you grasp wealth anxiously, it becomes burden. When you receive it gratefully, the same amount multiplies through appreciation's mysterious alchemy. You aren't chasing abundance that's absent. You're learning the consciousness that makes present abundance functional. Thankfulness doesn't attract more. It unlocks what's already here, transforming potential into experience through recognition's power. Your coins aren't the wealth. Your gratitude is. Hold any currency, paper, metal, digital representation. Instead of seeing its face value, flood it with genuine appreciation. Thank it for circulating, for serving, for carrying abundance between hands. As gratitude saturates your awareness, speak. I am the gratitude that activates wealth. I am appreciation making abundance functional. I am consciousness blessing currency with value. Feel the money become weightless with possibility. Then spend or save it while maintaining thankfulness, noticing how grateful exchange multiplies while anxious hoarding depletes. Practice this daily until every transaction becomes a gratitude ritual, watching how appreciation literally increases what passes through your hands. You are Robert Chen. Your chest has always held coins. Now you've learned consciousness holds the wealth. Currency is just the messenger discovering whether gratitude or greed controls its power. The pattern deepens. Everything you've heard reveals consciousness creating reality. But now we explore how your consciousness interacts with the larger field, the cosmic intelligence that's not separate from you, but expressing through you. Elizabeth Warren lived where Earth surrendered to sky. atop the tower of endless night where stone stairs spiraled so high that clouds became floor rather than ceiling. For 33 years, she'd mapped heavens with instruments her grandfather's grandfather had forged. Astrolabes of bronze, celestial globes of silver, charts inked on leather that cracked with age. Her purpose was recording what moved where, documenting the cosmos's eternal patterns so priests could calculate holy days, farmers could time plantings, sailors could navigate by eternal lights that never lied. Except the stars were lying, not about positions. Those remained predictable, but about patterns. Constellations she'd mapped for decades began rearranging themselves. A hunter's bow becoming a harp, a serpent's coil becoming a lotus. Transformations so slight, she blamed failing eyesight, faulty instruments, atmospheric distortions. Until the night 3 merchants visited her tower, each desperate for astronomical guidance before launching separate voyages. She mapped their courses by different stars. The twins for one, the Great Bear for another, the Phoenix for the third. Next morning, she climbed to verify her calculations. The twins had multiplied into a family of 7. The Great Bear had transformed into a great tree. The Phoenix had become a lighthouse flame. She checked her charts, panicking. No records matched what shone above. Then she recalled each merchant's questions. The first obsessed with expanding his family. The second with growing investments. The third with finding guidance home. Impossible. But she tested obsessively. Spent an evening contemplating revenge against a rival. The Scorpion constellation grew larger, its tail more menacing, shifted her meditation toward forgiveness. The Scorpion softened into a blooming flower, stars rearranging themselves into petals. She focused on scarcity. The tower needed funding. Supplies ran low. The constellation of the overflowing cup dimmed and inverted, appearing to empty itself across the sky. Changed her thoughts to gratitude for what remained. The cup brightened, stars cascading downward in luminous abundance. The heavens weren't fixed. They were responsive. Elizabeth had spent 3 decades believing she observed an independent cosmos, mapping reality separate from her consciousness. She'd been recording a mirror. The stars didn't shine indifferently above human awareness. They reflected it, reorganized themselves around it, became visual confirmation of whatever consciousness dominated the observers below. She hadn't been charting eternal patterns. She'd been watching her own thoughts projected onto infinite darkness, with light arranging itself to show her what she already believed. The cosmos wasn't indifferent to human intention. It was made of intention. Consciousness organizing itself into visible patterns, awaiting direction about what formations to take. You believe the universe exists independently, operating by laws that ignore your consciousness. This teaching shatters that comfortable distance. Elizabeth discovered what seers eventually must. Reality doesn't happen to you. It happens as you. The patterns you observe out there are projections from in here. Consciousness creating constellations that mirror your dominant thoughts. When you believe yourself small, the cosmos reflects that limitation. When you recognize yourself as vast, infinite patterns reveal themselves. You aren't studying an objective universe. You're watching your own consciousness create formations in the dark, then calling those formations reality while pretending you had nothing to do with their design. The stars don't dictate your fate. Your consciousness arranges the stars, then reads them as if they were authority external to yourself. Tonight, Go outside and select one constellation visible in your sky. Study its pattern. Then close your eyes and hold a powerful intention. Abundance, healing, love, transformation. Flood your awareness with absolute certainty that this intention is already manifesting. Feel it as completely real, already accomplished. Then open your eyes and observe the stars again, speaking, I am consciousness arranging cosmic patterns. I am the intention that reorganizes infinity. I am the mind that makes the universe reflect my truth. Don't expect stars to physically move, but notice how their meaning shifts, how patterns emerge that weren't visible before your intention crystallized. The cosmos is showing you what you've become certain about. Practice this weekly, watching how consistent intention creates consistent patterns, teaching you that consciousness doesn't read reality. It writes it across the sky in light. You are Elizabeth Warren. Your eyes have always studied heavens. Now you've learned consciousness creates what those eyes discover. The infinite darkness is just a canvas awaiting your thoughts to arrange themselves into constellations you'll pretend were always there. The teachings accelerate now. You're approaching the threshold where understanding becomes embodiment, where knowledge transforms into knowing. Because there's a difference between intellectually grasping these principles and actually commanding reality to bend. John Ramirez worked land that followed rules older than memory. Plant in spring, tend through summer, harvest at autumn's arrival, rest when winter froze earth. His grandfather had taught him these rhythms. His grandfather's grandfather had taught them before. 10 generations of Ramirez hands had surrendered to nature's calendar, patient as stones, until the year famine threatened. Spring rains never came. Summer scorched what little sprouted. Autumn arrived with empty granaries and hungry children. John stood in his barren fields, knowing winter would kill what drought had weakened. That night, something in him refused. Not hope, refusal. The kind of absolute internal no that doesn't negotiate with reality, doesn't accept impossibility, doesn't bow to what has always been. He walked to his frozen field under stars sharp as broken glass, placed both palms against earth hard as iron, and commanded spring to exist. Not prayed, not wished. Commanded the way a king orders servants, the way fire orders wood to burn, the way your hand orders fingers to move without requesting permission. He felt ridiculous for exactly 3 heartbeats. Then warmth spread beneath his palms. Not gradual thawing, instantaneous transformation, as if soil had been awaiting permission to ignore December's authority. Green shoots pierced frozen ground, unfurling leaves that belonged to April, not winter's depths. John staggered backward, terrified and exhilarated. He tested this obsessively, commanded summer squash to ripen in snow. They did. Ordered autumn wheat to grow during spring floods. It obeyed. Demanded winter root vegetables to mature in summer's heat. They complied without protest. The crops didn't merely survive wrong seasons. They thrived as if liberated from temporal constraints they'd only followed because no consciousness had ever commanded otherwise. Seeds responded not to temperature and daylight, but to the will directing them. His mental authority superseded nature's calendar entirely. Other farmers accused him of sorcery, called his abundance unnatural. John knew better. He wasn't violating natural law. He was demonstrating what law serves. Nature doesn't rule consciousness. Consciousness establishes the rules nature follows. Seasons exist because agreement creates them. The moment will become absolute, nature realigns itself around that certainty. His fields had never needed spring's permission. They'd needed his command to transcend seasonal limitations entirely. For years, he'd believed himself subject to nature's authority. Then he discovered that will itself was the authority. Nature was merely one possible expression, awaiting consciousness strong enough to imagine alternatives into being. You surrender to conditions as if they're sovereign. This teaching reveals who actually rules. John discovered what masters of manifestation know. Reality doesn't impose limits. Consciousness accepts them. When your will becomes absolute, uncontaminated by doubt or negotiation, what you command becomes law more fundamental than physics. Nature doesn't resist your authority. It's been awaiting it, following default patterns only because no consciousness directed otherwise. You aren't victim to circumstances. You are the authority those circumstances await instructions from. Conditions remain impossible only while your will remains negotiable. Stand before any situation you've labeled unchangeable. Feel where you've been accepting rather than commanding. Then speak with absolute authority. I am will that transcends natural limitation. I am consciousness commanding reality's reorganization. I am the season maker, and I decree transformation now. Don't request change. Command it. Feel the shift from hoping to knowing, from asking to directing. Reality responds to authority, not appeals. Practice this daily until your will becomes unshakable, watching how absolute command transforms what permission-seeking never could. You are John Ramirez. Your fields have always awaited seasons. Now you've learned, consciousness creates the seasons. Nature is just the student discovering that will, not weather, determines what grows. The depth increases. The spiral tightens. You're beginning to recognize that these aren't separate teachings, but facets of a single diamond. Different angles revealing the same light. But there's one more layer we must explore before the teachings complete themselves. The relationship between what you're being told and what you're actually hearing. Heather Burke inhabited the temple of unspoken truths, where pilgrims journeyed seeking answers to questions that plagued their souls. Unlike other oracles who channeled gods or read entrails, Heather offered something more unsettling. She gave seekers not answers, but questions. A single question specifically. The same words spoken to every visitor for 20 years. What truth are you ready to become? Merchants heard it and understood. Which abundance already exists in your awareness? Warriors heard it and understood. What strength have you been refusing to claim? Mourners heard it and understood. Which love transcends the illusion of separation? The question never changed. Yet every pilgrim heard different words emerge from Heather's lips. Or rather, they heard the same words reorganize themselves into the precise inquiry their consciousness was prepared to receive. One afternoon, a skeptical philosopher arrived, determined to expose her trickery. Ask your famous question, he demanded, stylus poised to record her exact words. Heather spoke. What truth are you ready to become? The philosopher wrote furiously, then read aloud. Why do you seek validation for beliefs you've already proven false? Heather smiled. Is that what you heard? That's what you said, he insisted. A priestess standing nearby shook her head. She asked, which goddess have you been running from? I heard it clearly. A shepherd who'd been waiting added, no, she said. When will you stop punishing yourself for being human? The philosopher's stylus clattered to stone. Heather had spoken one question. Reality had delivered three, each customized perfectly to the consciousness receiving it. She explained what decades of oracle work had taught her. Consciousness doesn't experience objective reality. It experiences personalized reality. The universe perpetually reorganizing itself into whatever form the observer is prepared to recognize. The question she spoke was like light passing through a prism. Each consciousness refracted it differently, receiving precisely the wavelength it could absorb. Reality wasn't one thing happening to separate people. It was infinite possibilities condensing into individualized experiences based on each consciousness's readiness. The temple didn't contain one oracle speaking one question. It contained infinite oracles speaking infinite questions, all occupying the same space, all equally true. Heather hadn't been giving answers for 20 years. She'd been demonstrating that reality was the answer, customizing itself moment by moment to reflect what each consciousness was finally prepared to see. You believe everyone experiences the same reality, receiving identical information that they interpret differently. This teaching reveals a far stranger truth. Heather discovered what mystics eventually must. Reality doesn't exist as one objective thing that consciousness then perceives. Reality becomes whatever the perceiving consciousness is ready to experience. The same event, words, or circumstance transforms into infinite variations, each perfectly calibrated to the observer's current awareness level. You aren't misinterpreting a fixed reality. You're receiving a customized reality personally designed by consciousness itself to deliver exactly what you're prepared to integrate. The universe doesn't speak one language you must learn to decode. It speaks your language, translating itself into forms your awareness can receive. This means every teaching you've heard today has been customized for your consciousness. What I've spoken, what you've heard, may not be the same. The merchant's mirror you heard might have revealed something different than someone else heard. The potter's clay might have taught you a lesson another consciousness missed entirely. This isn't recorded material playing identically for everyone. This is living transmission reorganizing itself around each awareness receiving it. In the comments, share what specific teaching hit you hardest today. Which story revealed something you've been circling around but couldn't name? Your witnessing of this moment, your articulation of what clicked, doesn't just clarify your own understanding. It sends ripples through the quantum field that help others recognize what they're ready to see. This is how collective consciousness evolves, through shared recognition of what was always present but previously invisible. Sit in stillness and ask yourself Heather's question. What truth am I ready to become? Don't answer it. Let the question reorganize itself inside your awareness. Notice what words it transforms into. What meaning emerges specifically for you in this moment? Then speak. I am consciousness receiving reality's personalized teaching. I am the awareness reality customizes itself to address. I am the question discovering its own answer. Return to this practice whenever reality feels confusing. The universe isn't unclear. You're receiving a transmission calibrated precisely to your current frequency. Practice this weekly until you recognize every experience as a personalized message, watching how reality perpetually adapts itself to consciousness, ready to receive its wisdom. You are Heather Burke. Your lips have always spoken one question. Now you've learned consciousness hears infinite answers. Reality is just the oracle discovering that truth changes shape to fit the mind receiving it. The teachings approach their completion, but completion doesn't mean ending. It means arriving at the beginning with new eyes. Because everything you've heard has been preparing you for a single recognition. A truth so simple it's been hidden in plain sight your entire life. Jason Peters lived inside tick-tock rhythm, his workshop tower filled with pendulum swings, escapement clicks, gear rotations marking time's merciless forward march. For 47 years, he'd crafted timepieces that did what clocks must: measure the present's transformation into past. Count down life's irreversible flow toward ending. His specialty was precision, mechanisms so accurate they lost only seconds per century. Wealthy patrons commissioned his work, knowing Jason Peters built devices that told truth. Time passes, moments die. Yesterday never returns. Until the day a widow arrived, clutching her dead husband's pocket watch, weeping not for his death, but for words she'd spoken in anger the morning he departed. "Make it run backward," she begged. "Let me unsay what can't be forgiven." Jason explained impossibility. Time flows one direction. Clockwork can't resurrect moments already buried. But her grief infected his workshop. For 3 days, he caught himself rewinding mechanisms obsessively, as if repetitive motion could satisfy something beyond mechanical function. His hands moved backward through time while his mind circled the widow's regret. Then, accidentally, or perhaps inevitably, he wound a clock while drowning in his own ancient shame. Harsh words he'd spoken to his daughter before she left, never returning. His fingers twisted the crown counterclockwise, his heart heavy with decades of if only. The gears caught, moved backward, then the room moved backward, not memory, actual reversal. Tea that had cooled began steaming. Afternoon light shifted toward noon's position. His own beard shortened, joints loosened. The ache in his lower back dissolved. Jason froze, terrified, released the crown. Time resumed its forward crawl. His beard lengthened again. The ache returned. He tested this obsessively, discovering the mechanism's truth. Clocks wound with regret ran backward, pulling temporal flow with them. Clocks wound with anticipation accelerated forward. Clocks wound with peace held time suspended, creating eternal moments that never progressed or retreated. The emotion, not the mechanism, determined temporal direction. Jason had spent decades believing time was sovereign, an external force consciousness endured, but couldn't influence. He'd been crafting devices to measure a tyrant he assumed ruled absolutely. But time wasn't the master. Emotion was. Consciousness creating temporal flow through feeling states. Regret literally pulled time backward toward what couldn't be changed. Anxiety pushed time forward toward disasters not yet arrived. Peace stopped time entirely, creating the eternal now mystics described. His clocks hadn't been measuring time. They'd been creating it. And the direction time flowed depended entirely on what consciousness felt while winding the spring. You believe time flows independently, carrying you from past toward future regardless of internal states. This teaching reveals time's true nature. Jason discovered what quantum mystics know. Time isn't an external river consciousness floats within. It's an internal experience that consciousness generates through emotional frequency. Your regret doesn't remember the past. It creates temporal flow toward that past. Your worry doesn't predict the future. It accelerates time toward that feared outcome. You aren't victim to time's passage. You're the clockmaker winding the spring. Your emotional state determines which direction the gears turn. Sit with any regret you've carried. Feel its weight, its backward pull. Then place your awareness on your heartbeat, your body's internal clock. Consciously slow that rhythm, speaking. I am the consciousness that creates temporal flow. I am the emotion that determines time's direction. I am the eternal now where past and future dissolve. Feel your heartbeat stabilize in peaceful rhythm, not racing forward in anxiety, not pulling backward in regret. This is time suspended, the moment made infinite. Practice this daily until you recognize emotional states as temporal creators, watching how peace stops the clock that suffering wins. You are Jason Peters. Your gears have always measured time. Now you've learned consciousness creates time. Duration is just another gear awaiting emotional direction about which way to turn. And now we arrive at the truth beneath all truths. The recognition that changes everything because it reveals there's nothing to change. Everything you've heard, every story, every principle, every practice has been pointing to a single understanding. You are not learning how to manipulate reality. You're remembering that you are reality, expressing itself through the lens of individual awareness. The mirror doesn't just reflect consciousness. You are the mirror and the reflection. The clay doesn't just respond to expectations. You are the clay and the potter. The tapestry doesn't just reorganize around the golden thread. You are the tapestry and the thread and the weaver. Every teaching has been removing layers of forgetting, dismantling the illusion of separation between consciousness and creation. Because there is no separation. There never has been. You've been living inside the answer while searching for the question. You've been the power while seeking the source. Consciousness doesn't create reality as something separate from itself. Consciousness is reality, experiencing itself through infinite perspectives, each one a unique expression of the whole. When you shift your consciousness, you're not changing external circumstances. You're revealing different aspects of what's already present, always present, eternally present. This is what the ancient texts meant when they whispered, I am. Not affirmation, recognition, not becoming, remembering, not creating, revealing. You are not separate from the universe observing it. You are the universe observing itself through this particular focal point of awareness. The merchant didn't discover a magic mirror. He discovered that he was the mirror. The potter didn't learn to shape clay. He remembered he was the clay shaping itself. The scribe didn't write in invisible ink. She recognized her consciousness was the ink, the writer, and the words. Everything you've heard today has been you speaking to yourself across the illusion of time, across the veil of forgetting, reminding yourself of what you've always known. That reality isn't happening to you. Reality is you happening. The final echoes of this work do not close a journey. They open the gate you were born to walk through. You have witnessed consciousness made visible in mirrors and clay, in threads and stars, in seeds and stones. These aren't external examples. They're internal recognitions. Each story reflecting back an aspect of your own nature that's been waiting for you to see it. Consciousness creates before action begins. Not because consciousness is powerful, because consciousness is creation itself, the substance from which all form emerges. Expectation reshapes the path not because mind influences matter, because expectation is the bridge where formless potential crystallizes into formed experience. Emotion doesn't just affect reality. Emotion is the paintbrush consciousness uses to color experience into infinite variations. Gratitude unlocks worlds, not because thankfulness attracts abundance, because gratitude is the frequency at which abundance becomes perceptible to awareness that's been tuned to scarcity. And the simple words, I am, carry the might of ancient creation, not because they're magical incantation, because they're recognition of what's always been true. You are the I am itself, naming itself into experience. As you leave these teachings, understand that the universe isn't listening for what you will choose to know next. The universe is you, discovering what you're ready to know about yourself. Its silence isn't emptiness waiting to be filled. It's fullness waiting to be recognized. Waiting for the shape of your thought to reveal itself. Waiting for the tone of your feeling to harmonize with itself. Waiting for the destination your imagination has already touched to become conscious destination. Carry this understanding like a lantern through every darkened corridor. When uncertainty rises, remember you are not separate from certainty itself, learning to focus. When doubt whispers, remember you are not separate from knowing itself, clearing away noise. When you desire change, remember you are not separate from transformation itself, revealing new patterns that were always possible. You are no longer a traveler searching for hidden power, because you've recognized there's nowhere to travel and nothing to search for. You are the author of experience discovering there's no separation between author and story. You are the architect of the unseen blueprint, realizing blueprint and building are one. You are the healer whose certainty restores, recognizing that healer and healed are the same consciousness playing different roles. You are the navigator whose vision forms the path, understanding that navigator, vision, and path are 3 words for one movement. You are the ancient scribe whose thoughts write tomorrow, awakening to the truth that thought, writing, and future are one eternal present, reorganizing itself into the illusion of sequence. Consider returning to these teachings each morning for the next 7 days. Not to memorize words, but to let the frequency penetrate deeper layers each time you listen. What you hear on day 1 will transform by day 7, because you're not the same consciousness receiving it. And if someone in your life is ready, share this with them. Not to convince or convert, but because sharing quantum truths creates a field amplification. When 2 consciousnesses recognize these principles simultaneously, manifestation accelerates exponentially. You're not just helping them, you're activating a collaborative creation field that benefits both of you through quantum entanglement. The teaching ends here. The creation begins with you. Except there's no ending and no beginning. There's only consciousness recognizing itself over and over in infinite variations, each recognition more complete than the last. Each awakening revealing that there was never anyone asleep. You are the metaphysical teachings. You always have been. This has simply been you remembering. What you've just experienced reveals the observer field that's been operating your reality without your conscious awareness. And you're not the one inside your head, the observer field revealed. We go deeper into the mechanics of who's actually doing the observing, why your thoughts feel like they're yours when they're field transmissions, and how to step into the witness position where reality stops happening to you and starts happening through you. This understanding transforms everything you've heard today, from concept into direct experience of the field itself.